What's up there, Travel Chronicles? Little update. Little 2023 update. So dealing with my mom a lot here lately. Just, got me thinking, kind of recapping the last couple of years. And right now, things are rougher than they have been. Things are starting to come to a head with her finances. Her mental state is not great. And today she called me and wanted me to come pick her up. And I don't know where I can take her. Like, we're about 2 months away from having to decide what to do with her house. Like, at the end of June, we will have to decide, sell it, state taking it, what are we doing? And she has zero clue about her financial state right now. And the bad thing is, so 5 years ago, she was probably 88 years old. She's trucking along. She made it to 90. She made it till 90th birthday. She's still living by herself, functioning by herself. And then right after that, she started to have these hip dislocations where her hip replacement started falling out of the socket. And I don't think it was overly painful for her because the bone wasn't breaking or anything. It's just fell out. Everything that was in the leg kind of moved over. There's no leverage point now to make anything work. It's kind of a crazy thing to put yourself into, but the leg just is a dead leg. It was absolutely a dead leg when it went out. And it's a procedure that it took a while to get anesthetic, get the doctor to do all that stuff, but literally the action of where the doctor was involved took about 10-15 minutes. You put her in traction, pull it, pop it back in, done. Didn't have to cut, nothing, just pop it back in. She did that 3 times. Gave her a brace. She lived with us, and it was a difficult. It was essentially 4 months. It felt like 2 years, but it was a hard 4 months. A lot of strain between me and Dina, and she just. It was different, but she was still, mentally there. She's still, kind of functional. She did get a surgery. She came back to our house. She was okay for 2 weeks, and then she quit doing anything. And oh my gosh, I'm in such horrible pain. And I watched my dad suffer for 2 years before he died. And before you experience somebody dying like that, you kind of have that Hollywood hope, the movie mentality. Oh, we're gonna have a miraculous recovery. They're gonna get better. And remember those 2 years where I had that giant hole in my stomach, but I'm glad that's over with. And the reality though is you're not in a valley, where things have gone okay, and then it's a dip, and then now, oh boy, we got through it and things are getting better. It's more of you're on the downhill, and it's just a steady downhill until you get to the abyss, right? And that's what it was with my dad. You don't realize it at the time, especially if you've never been through it, where, all right, things are going to get better. Things are going to turn around. We're going to get through this. All right, he's got to have another surgery. All right, cool. All right, hey, they pinched it back together. Oh, okay, still not feeling great. Things still aren't, quite right. They put an IV in to help with the cancer. You got cancer. Things will be okay. Oh, the IV fell out. Okay. Well, they'll put another one. Oh, they didn't put one. They just put one in the arm because that was for the cancer treatment. So, all right, get its strength up. Then we'll get the cancer. That didn't work, and now they're bringing in hospice, and then he died. And it's oh. That's how that worked. Where was the movie miracle? Where was the miraculous recovery? It doesn't happen. And, 5 years ago, mom's living by herself. She lived by herself for 22 years. And then plus another year, she was able to kind of live by herself at her house between 2020 and end of 2022, 2021. Because she had that surgery. And she did make it back out to her house in September because she wasn't living with us. I got a divorce. They didn't want to divorce me. And that's a hard spot to be in, to force somebody else to try to take care of somebody, take care of your mom. You can't. And got mom back to her house. But I had to go out, get her pills, make sure her pills were in line. Because every time she went in the hospital or took anesthesia, she was kind of whacked out of her head for about a month, maybe 2 months. It was just like things didn't make sense. She couldn't figure anything out. She just, kind of went into like a default mode. It was like a hard reset on her brain, and then you can't just keep resetting and resetting and resetting. That's hard. But after she got her surgery, she was in the hospital. She came back to our house. That did not work for very long for her to rehab. It was a little bit ridiculous because she had that surgery, and then like 2 days later, they're like, "All right, you're going home." Like, really? Like, you guys didn't even like rehab her or anything? She can rehab at home. The home health. That was during COVID, and that does not work. That is especially not with a 90-year-old, because she had to go through extensive stress tests, talk to the heart doctor before anybody would do this surgery, which is kind of funny because after she went through that, lived at home, and then a little over a year later, I can't even remember the timeline right now because I haven't really thought about it, but she falls at home, breaks her hip, they take her right in for surgery, and it's like not even a question. Now it's not a replacement, they just put rods in and stuff, and there's no stress test or anything. It's just you need the surgery because you broke it, so because it was her other hip. That's fine, it's whatever. And she went through rehab for that, made it back home in September, and was on her own for about a month, and then wheels fell off. I don't know if she had a stroke. I don't know what it was. End of 2021, she just gave up. Something happened. Went out there. Are you okay? Took her to Barnesville. She went to Barnesville Hospital that night. She walked out. She got in the ambulance, and that was the last time she was in her house. And they took her. She was there. She was like, I don't know what's going on. And she had agreed to, before this, living in assisted living. So we were getting everything kind of ready to move her down there. She was going to be in the independent part, so she still had her own house, and that's what she was going to do. And then she had this happen, and it messed with her head. She's never quite. She hasn't been right since, but it keeps deteriorating, and I keep watching and waiting for the Hollywood recovery. It's not happening. It's not happening. It's a slow downhill. And yesterday, I took her to the track meet that Faith was running, so she could watch Faith do something, watch her run. And she runs the 2 mile, so that's 8 laps. So she get to see her a good bit. It was the closest one to the assisted living facility that she's in. And it's like, okay, this would be good for her to get out, to see that. And I don't know what it has stirred up in her, but it's it's not anything good. It's not anything good. And as soon as we got back, she's like, I don't know this place. I was like, well, that ain't good. Because you've been here for a year and a half. Like, this is where you've lived. You've lived in the same room. You've eaten in the same place for a year and a half. And it's just... And we were only gone for 2 hours. She was outside watching this. We got ice cream. And she's asking me about my dad. You know, how's he gonna find her? I was like, he's been dead for 25 years. He's not gonna look for you. And I don't want to say it's scary. It's just, at this point, it's almost more annoying than anything, because she can't remember anything. You know, even talking about her thermostat, like, don't turn it up to 90, it won't work. You know, it's only going to get to, you know, you can turn it up to 78 if you want that heat to keep coming out of there, because you're not going to change the temperature of the room enough. And I might as well just talk to the wall. You know, that does as much good. She would have zero clue about her. Like, if I handed her a checkbook over to her now, what's this? What happened to all my money? That would probably be the first thing she said. Which is a little bit depressing in itself, because this has cost, you know, the amount of money that she had stored up is not a massive amount. Mom wasn't super rich. Dad wasn't super rich. You know, that's not the way they lived their life. You know, they got by. They had a comfortable life. You know, I would say, you know, lower middle class, but they were retired. They didn't need anything. They didn't want anything. They weren't world travelers. They didn't want fancy cars. You know, Dad wanted a boat, truck. That's it. You know, I mean, it was simple. And he had a farm before. He sold that. You know, we weren't starving, but the little bit that she had stored up, and, you know, just through savings, there wasn't 401ks or anything like that back then. And there's a pension, you know, that they get every month, Social Security, and that was more than enough to pay for their bills and stuff. But not now, not where she's at. It's so expensive, and it's like it's a cheap one, and it has drained her in a year and a half. And it's depressing from that standpoint. And I'm hoping Medicaid stuff works. If it doesn't, I have no idea what's going to happen. You know, can we sell the house? Can we put that in escrow? Can we take that money and pay for it? You know, whatever. I'm fine with that. It's so hard, and she's just not of the right mind to even make a decision, because, you know, even before this, like 7-8 years ago, she's like, well, nothing else to do for me to die. You know, she's living by herself, and it's like, no, don't talk like that. Don't talk. If she wanted to do something, she could have. She lived by herself for 23 years. She could have thrown herself down a step. She could have doubled up on her medicine one day. I mean, she could have done multiple number of things if she wanted to end it, but that's not how she was. She will survive till the bitter end using whatever means necessary. And the fact that her mind's gone now, she is running on basically pure instinct at this point, and her instincts will never allow her. Her default mentality will never allow her to do anything like that. It will not. She could fall out of that wheelchair, out of her bed, and, like, she will crawl to the nurse's station before she just lays there and dies in her room. Absolutely. And, you know, that's great. Yeah. But we're just, you know, we're past a point of reaching some civil end, and I just dread, I absolutely dread nobody can take care of you. Nobody can give you the stuff that you need. I mean, this place is keeping you alive. Even if it's against your will, they're keeping you alive at this point. And she can live for another 8 years. I mean, she has outlived her body at this point. What her body's capable of. It is broken down, falling apart, memory's gone, and she's still going. And it's hard to watch. I mean, it's depressing to watch. We're past. There's no coming back. It's just how bad's it gonna get? We're just watching a long, depressing movie that will not end. It does not end. And I don't wish death on my mom. I want her to have a peaceful. I don't know what's going on. You know, it's just like a little marble inside her head just rolling around. Whatever thought she happens to come to that day, that is what she locks into. Whenever we went to that track meet yesterday, got that marble rolling at hyper speed because it is just, it's not good. I don't know how to calm her back down. I don't know if she missed a med or something yesterday or what. It's another level of angst, another level of anxiety for me. I'm not looking forward to it. You know, the other thing is that she doesn't recognize me when I come in. Like, for the vast majority of the last 25 years, like, my look has been pretty much the same. Mustache, goatee, short hair. You look up any picture, like, it's maybe the hair's a little bit longer, the tee's a little bit longer. Maybe at one point I did just have a mustache for a year and a half. But other than that, like, since college, it's been pretty much the same. Been about the same. She doesn't know who I am. She calls me my dad, or thinks I'm my son. I don't know. Like, I literally have no idea what she's thinking. And some of her little tricks of, well, you know what I'm talking about. And then you give her a name, and it's like, yeah, that person. If you don't give her a name, she's completely lost. She has no clue who she's talking about. She'll just pull a name out of nowhere. Somebody that she hasn't talked to or talked about for 20 years. And it's like, oh, I don't know how to do it. I haven't seen them. They were down here the other day. I was like, no, they weren't. They absolutely were not. I don't know if she's dreaming it, she thinks it's real, but I mean, it's a lie, you know, but she doesn't realize it. It's so hard. It's so hard. This is the most miserable thing, and I think God has blessed me with the ability to compartmentalize, so it's not like this is all that I think about all day, but there are certain days where this is at the forefront, where there ain't a whole lot going on, and it's like, boom, there it is. Or something like this happened yesterday, and now, you know, I can't leave it alone, but, you know, most of the time, right, if I'm doing this, this is what I'm doing. If I'm doing this, this is what I'm doing. If I'm at work, I'm doing work. If I'm coaching, I'm coaching. You know, I'm able to go back and forth. And whatever moment I'm in, I'm in. But dealing with this is on a whole other level. Like, I don't want to deal with this. Like, I'm good. I got it. Like, I did this for 3 years now. 3 years. Yeah, like, all the time that I've spent, thought about it and stuff. It's like, I ain't coming back. But that's just an update. That's where I'm at. No end in sight. All right. Well, be careful. Be COVID free. Still later.